Hey, Nick here, January 5th, 2022. Starting to make a lot of sense here. I'm talking to people on Facebook, and I'm getting into this thing about the Arn Ra. Now, I got a lot of respect for Mr. Ra and what he's done with evolution, and I love most of his stuff. Like that, the videos are. I agree with well, not a lot. Now I got to rethink that. Now some of the stuff about scripture and stuff I don't agree with, but that's not what this is about. I don't want to get into it with him about that. I really don't want to get into it with him at all. It's more like the people that I encounter on Facebook that are saying it about the if you can't show it, you don't know it. People that think that makes sense are the same type of people that get told what to think by religious leaders. Like, if you're, because these people are really, there's some people are making long videos, or not videos, they're making long comments, and they're putting like as much energy into it as I am with this one video, kind of, but, I could do this one video one time, and they got to type that out, however many times they got to type that out, 20 times or something. So that's why I started making these videos, because I got tired of just saying the same thing over and over again, so now someone can just watch a video. But yeah, man, okay, I can know that I had an experience and that it was supernaturally themed, and I'm that, you know what I mean, that there's also other experiences that I've had also that I'm sure there's some type of higher intelligence out there, and whatever it is, hey man, there's no point in even arguing about it. Like, for real, man, I just wanted to continue on and be a productive member of society. But I can know what I know, and this is like the thing is I can never prove anything, really. I can't prove it, and that's how it is. So the James Randi thing, I used to look at it like it was evidence that somebody couldn't demonstrate that there was supernatural. It's evidence that no one was able to do that in that setting, but it's not evidence that it couldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, so for me to use that argument was bogus logic, and just, I don't know. I'm not going to go out and say there's a God, but it would be hard for somebody to deny the results of the before and after, at least, of the way that I was heading, and now I'm kind of, getting my shit together, so to speak. So, I'd rather make that what the argument is more about, was that it doesn't really matter if it was supernatural or natural, because it got me thinking logically, which is important. I believe that if there's gods, that they value logic above all else. And I believe if there's gods, that all pursuits of knowledge please the gods, and it's not one particular vein of interest that they like the most, but you're not pleasing the gods by reading your holy books nonstop, and that's all. I'm assuming they'd like a diverse, like anything that's going to enrich a person's imagination. How about that? The more knowledge you have about the more diverse topics or subjects, the more richer one's imagination could be, And that's what I think would please the gods, is everybody just trying to learn as much as they can about what interests them, so that their imaginations can run wild with the enlightening knowledge. So, you know what I mean? And then your motives for why you're learning the knowledge comes into play if you're going to be enlightened by having it later, so to speak. And the pursuit of knowledge is a wonderful thing, and I'd like to make that more about what this is all about. But I will never tell somebody, hey, man, I used to, people in the debate groups would try to tell me they had a supernatural experience, and I was like, it was anything but supernatural. Pretty much was my basic philosophy. It didn't matter what they said. So this is funny. If there's gods, this is funny watching me do this crap, because now I got to admit, hey, maybe one of them had a real supernaturally themed experience that to them is 100% supernatural, because I think that whatever supernaturally themed experience anybody has, it was natural, and even if it was because of another race of highly sophisticated, intelligent beings that figured out how to go into our consciences and do stuff. You know what I mean? Either way, whatever it is, man. Is that what people who believe in God want? Honestly, isn't that? Do they really want gods that can know everything you think? Like the people that believe in the God of the Bible and what I grew up thinking was, that God knows what you're thinking. God knows everything. Is that what you guys really want? Think about it. Think about the consequences if that's the case. Think about what this God would really want. Would he want you to, would this God want people that think that God backs them up on their bullshit logic that they use to justify their behavior when they do stuff they know is wrong. I mean, what if it really was a God that knew it was all bullshit and they were pissed off, kind of insulted that you claimed you believed in God and then used all that bullshit logic to justify what you knew was wrong, and then had the nerve to think that the all-knowing supreme universal mind God backed you up on your BS would be even more of an insult to them. Like, come on, people who claim to believe in God. People that say our DNA is a code. Is that what you really want? Is that what you want us to be? Self-aware flesh robots? Is that what you want? Do you like it, the idea of the meat puppets where the God knows everything, or how about the gods? They don't control your free will, but they just manifest themselves like as your conscience. And if your karma, if they're following the law of cause and effect, they're gonna give you advice to do something that's gonna create a bad effect. What if that's the case? And that's why wicked people always seem to end up getting caught and getting in trouble, because they create bad effects with their impure motives that go into their actions. What if that was the case, guys? What if the gods are offended that you think all you have to do is believe in them and that you're going to go to heaven based on that belief, while you don't behave morally? Well, you don't believe, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you're not kind to people, if you're not generous, if you don't help people out of the kindness of your heart, if you are stingy and selfish and steal and lie and cheat, but then later on you say, oh man, forgive me, God. And then you go out and you think that God thinks you're sincere if you just go out and do it again. Or people that have claimed to have had a spiritual experience that go back to behaving immorally. And I'm not talking about sex and stuff. I'm talking about lying to have sex. If I'm saying immoral, I'm not talking about having sex. I'm talking about if you got to cheat on your girlfriends and stuff, that's immoral to me. Now that I've reached this stage of my life and where I'm at, but whatever, if that's what you do, then that's what you do it. I'm not going to judge you because whatever reasons you have to do it. I used to do the same shit. I used to BS logic myself all the time into doing shit that I knew was wrong, that I knew would hurt people. You know what I mean? That's fucked up, but I can admit it now. And so people that claim to have had a spiritual experience or claim to have had a supernatural experience, Watch their morals later. Watch the logic that they use. Are they still using BS logic to justify their behavior? They still believe that that's the God that backs them up, on whatever reason they have for like stealing or lying or cheating, whatever excuse they have. They really think that the supreme creator of the universe is going to be understanding to that degree. Anyways, watch what you hope for, and to me, just follow the law of cause and effect with the moral code. Combine the two. Always behave morally. Use perfect logic to decide what your actions are going to be, so they're morally, more righteous. And to make sure when you go into stuff that it's for a pure understanding, when you're going to obtain knowledge, that you really want to understand, or you really want to use the knowledge to help people, not just look smart, not just to win a debate, or not to make people feel bad, or whatever. Make it so you don't think mean-spirited thoughts. What if mean-spirited thoughts, they already ooze out of you in your body language and the tones of your voice and the looks in your eyes? So why even have them? I mean, to train your brain to not think mean-spirited thoughts. You know what I mean? And maybe you will have better effects, from having more pure causes. Make everything you do a big, giant, positive cause. Start with the logic you use in your brain. And then you just see the effects. That's the closest evidence for God that I have, is follow the law of cause and effect with the moral code, use perfect logic, make sure your motives are pure. You know what I'm saying? Do it for like 30 days or whatever, and when you see the effects from doing that, you'll be like, hey, it's worth it to keep doing it, at least. For real, because you're either going to see better effects just in daily life. Your life will get better from the law of cause and effect actually working, or you're just going to be experiencing the effects of what it feels like to be a decent person, a likable, decent person. You know what I mean? That doesn't judge people and understands everyone's on their journey and everyone's doing exactly what they're supposed to be at this period of time in their life, pretty much. You know what I mean? Anyways. All right, enough of that. Have a good one.